I think the city of Englewood has so many assets from some of the people here and the people that reside there. It's an amazing group of activists, community activists from all sides that have intelligence, passion for the city, and really to activate them. From a corporate side, we have Urban Performing Arts Center. We have the opportunity of the oldest building in the city being the Liberty School. We have Flat Rock Brook. We have our fields. We have McKay Park. It's really adding and looking at strategically, first stepping back. Whenever I get involved in something, before I take the step forward, I have to take the step backwards. And some people call it zero-based budgeting. I would say go back and look at the operations of the city and the services that we may be providing, but let's not treat that as a paradigm just because we're providing, and step back and say, how can we best serve the city? I personally believe the anchor is the downtown. I believe that's the economic engine, and I believe it's a social engine. And I believe we could create a nexus on the downtown Englewood from one end of Palisades to the other. That will then mushroom out to people coming in and out, whether they're at the theater, whether they're at the public schools, whether they're shopping. But now they're going to say, gee, Englewood. And then it's going to go to all parts of the town. And particularly in using those corporate assets, it's really just thinking and seeing how you could come together. People talk about, there's a need, an interest. I hear now I've been in Englewood for 10 years. I'm hearing it's 20 years or 30 years of a community center. Yes, it'd be nice to have a community center building, but before you do a community center, I think we have to first start and say, what is the best thing that we need for all our services, and start with our children. Start with the programming, what the needs are of our children, and then you build the model, then you put the model into the structure, and then you define where and how that's going to be located. I passionately believe in, and this is what I've been doing my whole life, and people think it's a little boring in the words, a public-private partnership. You bring all sectors of the community, whether it's corporations, whether it's citizens, whether it's government, whether it's the active talent of the people in the city, and you bring them together and working together and leverage each one of them. And that's what I would like to do. I've done it in the past, and I'd like to take the try now. Thank you.
Ms. Paul, would you like to comment on that issue?
No questions?
Oh, okay. Mr. Radine, if you care to comment?
I do agree that the downtown is a very important area. Unfortunately, some of the stores are going out of business. And through my work on the EEDC, Englewood Economic Development Corporation, we have increased our donation to the Bergen PAC from originally when I was on the board from $50,000 to $125,000, showing our dedication to this engine that goes throughout Englewood. In addition, the fact is that when the John Harms closed, it went dark, as everybody knows. And what some people do not know is that there was a serious offer from a developer to tear down that building and make them into condos. So when we're talking about corporate interests, well, this particular group wants to make the Bergen PAC into condos. And at the time, a lot of people know that anything can be done in the city of Englewood, even though there's 28,000 people, can be done with 3 votes. And fortunately, there were 3 people on the council at the time. It was 3-2. And we were able to stop this from becoming condominiums because it was zoned as retail at the time. And if the council at the time, majority of the council said, we are willing to change the zoning on this, then it will become condominiums. So I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to stop Bergen PAC from becoming condominiums. And that's part of the downtown engine that drives Englewood. And it's interesting that some people complain about Englewood, but at the same time, if you go to other towns, I talk to people from all around Bergen County, and they say that you have the most fabulous downtown. It's beautiful, it's great, we love coming there, it's thriving, and people enjoy coming there. So, thank you.
Yes?
Yeah, I have a question for all three candidates. I just want to take a minute. Have they given any thought to rejuvenating the Democratic Party in Englewood or the Democratic Club in Englewood? The reason I ask is because it's a short history. Years ago, we had a vibrant, exciting Democratic Party and club. When we moved to Englewood in 1958, it was owned by the Republican Party. We put an end to that. Long before America woke up, we elected an African American to be our mayor. Very soon afterwards, we elected a woman to be our mayor. We used to have meetings of the club and the party. 80 or 90 people would come, working against the war in Vietnam, and working originally from Eugene McCarthy, then from McGovern. All that disappeared. I don't know why it disappeared, but it has disappeared. The question is, I don't see any reason why it can't come back. We are a grassroots here. We had the most exciting local grassroots in Bergen County in those years. And the right mayor could do a lot about it. That's my view.
I think that there is value in looking at the past. There's great value in looking at our history. But I also think that it's equally important to move forward. And so while I would like to maintain the things that you mentioned, I'd also like to see Englewood's Democratic Party move forward. Now, I also think that it's very important today what we see here right now. We see 3 candidates running for mayor. We have 4 candidates running for city council at large, and all of them Democrats. And so while I understand that we can look at what we've missed or what's no longer there, I think we should also stay focused on what we're doing now, which I think is representative of a vibrant democracy and should in fact continue.
I agree partially with Deidre. The fact is that this is very good for democracy. You have an open seat, you have a bunch of people running. I think that's a good thing. When I first moved to Englewood 20-something years ago, I immediately got involved with the Democratic Club. And there are some people here that know that I agree with the gentleman that we used to have 3 or 4 hour meetings. And we used to have business for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and the next thing you know, we would have discussions for 2 or 3 hours at a time, just about the issues of the day. It wasn't even always just about Democratic or Republican. It was about all types of issues. And I miss that. There was all kinds of free-flowing discussions going on, and we were able to talk about all kinds of things going on. It was a very active, I was the vice president and very involved with the Democratic Club for many, many years. And but unfortunately, in the past couple of years, there has not been as much interest in the Democratic Club. What has happened is, my theory, which I said in the Suburbanite, is that you always have 2 parties. You're always going to have 2 parties. So either you have if you have a strong town with a strong Republican and Democratic Party, that's fine. There's always going to be competition. If you have one town that dominates, and Bergen County has quite a few towns like that, where there's virtually, if you look at the primaries, there's nobody running in the Democratic or the Republican side, you still will have 2 parties. And over the last few years, there has been some dissension in the party. Either you're in or you're out. When I first ran, I ran off the line because I was told that I was not welcome, and I was pushed off the line, and I ran off the line, and I did one 2-to-1, and it keeps on going. The same thing, I was the incumbent last year. I'm running for my 3rd term, and yet I was pushed off the line by our county chairman because I was not in line with the Ferriero politics. So I was pushed off the line. I had to run as a real Bergen Democrat, and you remember us coming here and asking for your support last year. So there's always going to be, my philosophy is that there's always going to be 2 parties. Either you're in, you're out. And sometimes it's good for democracy. I agree with Deidre that you have to sometimes kick your way in. You have to kick and scream and tell people,